How's it going, guys? Sorry it's been over a month. I've had trouble with my VR chat cable here. I'd order a new one after trying to RMA it. Long story short, it wouldn't really work longer than 10 minutes. It's hard to record a podcast that's usually longer than 10 minutes when this thing doesn't work, and it's all staticky and just a total pain in the ass. Regardless, I'm back, hopefully on a consistent schedule, but if you didn't know, which I'm sure most of you did, I have another channel where I post clips and I stream, so if you want to check that out, all the links will be down below. But enough of the shameless self-plug. Welcome to a new episode of the Reef Podcast. I don't know what I'm going to name it yet, I'm still thinking, so if you have any name suggestions, put them down below. But today's episode is on gratitude. Pretend there's a little rainbow right here. I can't edit it in because I don't know how to do that, but pretend it's there. Okay, so today, I feel like I always mention it in all the episodes and everything I do. I always mention the gratitude. I'm like, oh, I'll make an episode on it this day. I'll make an episode on it that day. Well, today is the day I make the episode. So being grateful, this is like a pretty broad term, pretty aware of that. I know it's like, well, what do you mean? Blah, blah, blah. So in my opinion, being grateful is just journaling every day about certain things, and it will widen your whole horizon pretty much about everything in your life. I think a lot of people don't really realize how many little things in the day happen and how let me just get to my favorite quote because that will make more sense. One of my favorite quotes is when you focus on the good gets better. Okay, sorry for the cut. My foot tracking was literally cutting off my circulation. But regardless, when you focus on the good gets better. And it's weird how powerful it is, and I never really realized it until I started taking action and noticing it and focusing on it. So when if you realize like your mind's kind of like a computer with like algorithms, if that makes any sense at all. So when you kind of train it's so hard to put into words. Your mind subconsciously makes algorithms and does things. So when you focus on just horrible stuff, negative things all the time, your mind just immediately jumps to it. It's building an algorithm for it. There's some science behind this. I don't have the articles. I've just read it in books. Okay, take it. Just listen. I'm a dog. Okay, but regardless, I don't think people really realize how many times in your day I don't know what just happened there. You don't focus on the right things, and your mind just goes south. It just goes down, and it's like subconsciously so many things, like the way you talk about stuff, like, oh, I hate that, I don't like that, this, that. I need to make an episode about changing the way you talk to yourself, but I think I actually have. But regardless, a lot of small things build up and grow this algorithm more when you don't even know what's happening. So if you're in traffic and you get mad, instead of trying to like rewrite it to a positive thing, you just get all angry and upset, blah, 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 playing a game. Maybe you judge somebody's outfit or the way they look or what they're doing. There's endless things in your day that when you really start to notice it, you just kind of jump to the worst and the most negative thing. And I hang out with some people where they do that, and I'm just like, holy shit, like I forgot I used to be like that. And not like it's a pedestal or anything, because some people just don't care, and it's okay to have negative moments. It's unrealistic to always be positive. But like just making fun of somebody's outfit, somebody's hair, somebody's car, just like so many things are so negative, and just thinking about how bad your drink is or how bad the traffic was or gas prices. There's endless things. I can go on forever. But when you start to journal, or at the end of the day, gather all the things you're grateful for, it changes the way you look at the world and how the world treats you. When you only focus on the negative, bad stuff, you're only going to see the negative, bad stuff. It's like putting on rose-tinted glasses. That's all you're going to see. It takes away all the green. When you put on green-tinted glasses, you start to realize like just how great and amazing things really are that your past mind wasn't letting you see. And I know this is really confusing, and I'm probably derailing this like crazy. But I think for more like of a real-life example, to make it make sense, when you go about your day and you wake up, that you can just be like, wow, the weather is great outside. It feels amazing. That like little notice, like that little tiny thing you noticed, when you stack all those, it like changes your whole outlook, like I just said. So wow, the weather's great. You make breakfast. I'm so glad I get to eat this breakfast. It's good. It tastes great. It's fueling me. Something like that. I can't wait. I'm so glad I get to see my friends at school, or I get to go to work. I recently was reading a book, and it said the biggest way to change how you view life is to change what you say. When you say, I have to go to work, I have to go to school, I have to eat breakfast. I have to go on a run. It just makes it sound like the worst chore ever. And yeah, I mean, nobody wants to work. Not everybody likes school. But you get to do it, and there are a lot of positive moments at all those places. But when you start it off with a negative narrative, you'll never see the positive. And I feel like this episode could be like 40 hours long, and it needs to be a book or something. It probably is a book about it. But when you're like, oh, I get to go to school. When you're at school, math kind of sucks, but hey, you get to be there. A lot of people in the world don't get to be there, which I know I sound like a dad, but when you really think about it, it is a really big thing. You get to be there. You get to meet all your friends. You get to hang out with your friends at work. I mean, to be fair, some people, honestly, I'm not going to sit here and like lie to you. Some people might have a really shitty job. Some people might have a really shitty school. It sucks. I mean, I really can't control what happens. I'm not going to sit here and paint it all amazing, but just try and look for like the positive little moments. But you get to do these things, and there's so many small moments that you miss out on that you don't notice until it's too late. Like when you're hanging out with friends, sometimes I just sit there, like that one meme at a party where he's standing in the corner, and I'm like, wow, like I'm so glad I get to be here, and I'm making these great memories, and I'm gonna think about this forever. Or when you just have like amazing food, or you are just having like a beautiful hike, a great day, playing video games with your friends. Like there's so many amazing things, like they're all in front of you, but you just have to acknowledge them. And journaling at the end of the day is like the best way to do it. I try to do it daily. Sometimes I get too sleepy, or I do it in the mornings from the past day. But I've really noticed in my own personal life, I used to be a pretty negative, depressed, sad, blah, 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 the whole nine. And then when I started like just writing down what I was grateful for, I was like, wow, like I'm so grateful to have this computer in front of me that lets me make videos. I write down, I'm so grateful for everyone who watches my content. I'm so grateful for all of my friends, my family, my opportunities. You have so many opportunities you don't know about until you look at them. I'm so grateful for my house, my car. There's just like endless. And when you start writing it, you can kind of start going on forever, and you start looking at your day and you're like, wow, I didn't even notice. Like I'm really glad I get to do that, or I'm really glad I have this, or I get to do this. I'm so grateful for my phone, my laptop, this, that. When you write it every day, it gets a little repetitive, but it really reinforces and makes you just focus on the good and how lucky you really are, because everyone is lucky. If you're holding a phone, you're lucky. If you're on your computer, you're lucky. There's endless things that can make you lucky. And when you really start to notice it, you don't really look at the world like, wow, that person's so lucky they get to do that. Wow, blah, 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 blah. You can start being like, wow, I'm so lucky I have this. I'm so grateful I have this. And you get to focus on yourself. And when you focus all that energy on yourself, it only lets you grow as a person and makes your whole outlook on life way better. But I feel like I've been kind of like all over the place and derailed. It's a little early in the morning. I'm drinking a coffee. I'm trying to like get back into the podcast swing because these are kind of hard to film. You have to be in the right mood and stuff. But I really want to get it out today, which I recorded this the morning. If you're watching it the day it's released. But I think like the whole thing of gratitude and everything is it's just so up to the person. And I know a lot of people immediately have like that's not going to help me or this or that. I read some comments or some people will just like give me this whole like little story about how it's not going to help them. Honestly, like I don't know what to tell you, that you're already missing the first step of trying to get better by just saying you can't get better. So if anybody's gonna take this episode like that, I'm sorry. I don't know what to say. I try my best, but if you're already only focusing on ways that's not gonna make your life better, then it's not gonna work. You already messed up the first step. So try with your best. Like with the gratitude thing, my recommendation is journaling. Like I said, at the end of the day, everything you're grateful for, everything that's been working out, all this, all that, and just kind of sit there and think. And it's hard to do it without a smile. Like you can be like, I'm so like the jokes I made at work or school today, and you just think back to that moment and you're laughing, or the great lunch I had, or my friend surprised me with a coffee. There's just like endless things in life that are just so amazing that just go right over your head. And I think it's just so important every day to just sit down and just notice how great everything is. 'Cause it's so easy to get caught up in anxiety and stress and negativity because it's your mind. I can make a whole episode about the instincts of stress and anxiety that aren't real because it's from survival instincts like years and years and years ago, and they just don't affect you anymore. Because it's so weird when you start breaking down the human mind. But I think like the very tip of the iceberg is the gratitude. Because I really think if you guys try it, if you sit there and you try and think about all the gratitude in your day, you'll notice how life is just so much more enjoyable and how many things you were taking for granted every single day. Like, once I started doing it, I was like, oh my God, I'm taking all this for granted. Like, this house, being with my boyfriend, being in this, having my dog, having my computer. Like, I'm repeating myself, but it's crazy how you just don't realize how many things are right in front of you. And I'm a huge believer in what you put out there comes back to you like tenfold. And I think when you put out there that everything is just great and amazing and you're grateful for this, and it's really ironic because that new Bluey episode, if you watched it, called The Sign, like really touched on it with the, or kind of touched on it with like the guy up in the mountains, the farmer who said, we'll see, we'll see, we'll see. And every situation kind of snowballed into a positive. It might have gone back to a negative, but then it snowballed into a positive. So it's kind of just like a really good metaphor on how you just look at life and make it what it should be, I think is a good way to look at it. I'm really repeating myself, and I feel like this episode is kind of a flop. So if it got posted, I didn't think it was a flop. But I think that's all I have today. I'm going to probably look at this episode and think about what I can fix for the next one. But to gather everything up, just try and find things to be grateful for. Even if it's only 2 things, 1 thing a day, I promise you, if you keep doing it for a week to 2 weeks, your list of things you're grateful for are just going to double and triple. And you're going to really find more quality and fun in life that you didn't see before. So take off the rose-tinted glasses and try and focus on everything happy. And I really do think that it can change how you view everything. But I think that's all I have for this episode. I'm sorry I've been out of the works. I'm getting back into it. And the next episodes will be planned and hopefully more, like there'll be chapters down here. I'm trying to update these and make them better. I want to add captions, but besides the point, thank you for listening. I hope that this episode kind of helped you and maybe made you look at gratitude a little bit different, or maybe it will change a part of your day. Regardless, hope that I'll see you back here next week for another episode that'll hopefully be more planned out. But I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you later. Bye.